Okay, hi everybody. So I'm going to do a very simple quick example of a Gantt chart with you so that you can just see how it's done. Okay, so let's start with the beginning. This is the information that you'll get. You'll always get this. This is the list of activities, the durations for those activities, and the predecessors, which means this is what I need to be able to do this activity. Okay, so the first step is to start with activities without any predecessors. Okay, so what we are saying is we've got a time scale in this side, on the bottom side. And the time scale has got time moments. So the first time moment we have is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. The first activity says we've got a duration of 2 and we don't know or don't need anything to do that. So we know these activities without any predecessors are the first activities which starts on 0. So they will start on 0 over there. Okay, and we know it's got a duration of 2, so it's 2 blocks long, starting at 0, ending at 2, and we make that, in this case, just yellow. Okay, remember, we start on 0, not at 1. Although it's the first block, we start on 0. Second activity, activity B, has got a duration of 3, and it also hasn't got a predecessor. So we start on 0, and we end on 3 or 3 blocks long. Now, 1, 2, 3, and that's why we will stop and draw that one over there. Now, the third activity has got 5 duration, but you need A to be finished before you can do C. So there's A is finished at that moment, so you know C will start at the moment in which A finish, and it's got a duration of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we color that one so we know that is the third activity, activity C. Then we've got activity D. Activity D's got a duration of 2, and we need B to be finished to do D. Now, so where's B? There's B. B finishes on 3, and D's got a duration of 2, so it starts on 3 at that moment. Got a duration of 2, 1, 2, and we color that one in. Now we've got activity E. It's got a duration of 3, and look at how interesting this is now. We need 2 activities for that to be finished. We need C to be finished and we need B to be finished. Both of them needs to be finished before you can do E. Nah. So let's look at C first. If we started there where C finish, we know, but there's a problem because C is not finished yet. Nah. So if D finishes, we can't straight after that start with E because we still need to finish C. So E will start as soon as C and D, but C is the longest, so E will start on 7. Okay, so that's very important, guys. So you can't start E before 7 because before 7 C won't be done. It's got a duration of 3, 1, 2, 3, and we color that one in. Good. So the first step is done. Now what we do, if there are activities which sort of doesn't make sense. Now we said we're going to put a vertical line in. So let's have a quick look. A starts over there, finish over there, and C needs A. But it's confusing to know that this activity over here, C, needs A. So that's why we're going to put, and I just put a sort of a pre-arrow over here, so I don't need to draw it again with the example. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to put an arrow over there, and that arrow tells me that this activity is followed by this activity. In other words, activity C, this one, needs that activity. That's why we put it over there. Okay, this one, let's continue with that branch. Activity E, we said needs C and D. Okay, it sort of makes sense because if you look at it like that, you can see, well, that one finished over there, so you can start that. But what I will do, guys, I will still put an arrow over there just so everybody can see and understand that this activity needs that one. Okay, but there's another one. This activity also needs that one, but there's a funny gap. And guys, that's where I said you show the float or the movement of that. So what I'm going to do, copy paste, I'm going to put an activity over there or an arrow over there to show me that this activity needs that one. And to make it more clear, let's do it that way. We make it like this, and just to make it 100% clear, I'm going to put a little arrow over there so you can see which activity we are talking about. Can you see now? So now this activity, activity E, needs, what is this? C. What is this? D. And you can see that that's exactly right according to that. But there's another bit of a small bit of confusion, because activity D needs activity B, but they are not right next to each other. So that's why I will also go copy paste. I'll also do that so that you can see this activity is followed by this activity is followed by this activity. And now it's easy. Everything is nice, straight. Everybody can see. So if you look at this, then we said, what do you need to do? You need to identify the float. We already did that. So there's a float over there, which means this activity and actually that activity can move up by 2 without delaying the total project. Okay. So to identify the critical path, the same that we did with the precedence diagram, with the diagrams that we did earlier, is we look at the activities without any float, without any movement. And what I'm going to do in this case, I'm going to color these in. So this activity can't be moved. Then it is followed by this activity which can't be moved, which followed by this activity which can't be moved. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make it another color so everybody can see another color. That is my critical path. Those are my critical activities. And I can go further. I can do that. I can do that. And I can do that. And that now I'm going to actually do that in red. So you can see my critical activities are A, well, let's make it in capital A, C, and E. And the rest of them are not critical, which means I do have some play with them. So there's float of 2 on activity D and activity B. And remember, guys, what float means, it is actually shared by a branch. So what this means, B and D, which is on a branch, is sharing a float of 2, which means I can move this one up by 2, but if I use the float, I'm going to have less float on the other one. Now, so if I move this up by 1, I'm going to have a 1 float on this and a 1 float on that, to just show you which are the more critical activities that you're going to have to focus on. So guys, have a look at this one and then have a look at the examples. See if you can do that, and then do the TUT. Make sure that you understand all of this so that you can apply this in the tutorial as well as in a potential test or an assignment that might follow.